the so-called Nakba. Now, what the Nakba actually was the Arabs deciding that they were going to wage war against the newly founded state of Israel.
First of all, it's great that even the most annoying pro-Israel people need to acknowledge the existence of the Nakba. I personally didn't find out what the Nakba was until I read Rashid Khalidi's 100-Year War on Palestine in 2021. The version she's talking about is what I was taught in Jewish day school. Israel was founded in May 1948, and then all its Arab neighbors invaded. Israel then miraculously saved itself and ended up conquering way more land than it was promised in the partition plan. The truth is the Nakba, aka the ethnic cleansing of Palestine, actually started months before May 1948 and was the result of years of planning. Ilan Pappé gives all the details in his book, but I want to highlight the term Plan Dalet. Dalet is the fourth letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and this plan was the synthesis of three earlier plans. In 1947, the UN agreed to partition the area between the river and the sea into two roughly equal states for Jews and Palestinians. The problem was the Jews were given 55% of the land, but were only 33% of the population, which to the Palestinians seemed incredibly unfair and colonial, which it was. And to the Jews meant the area that they controlled would have way too many Palestinians to be both Jewish and a democracy. The area promised the Jews was only about half Jewish, which meant that if it was a true democracy, the Palestinians could eventually have a majority. And if the Jews wanted to maintain control forever, then it couldn't really be a democracy. Or they could do Plan Dalet and ethnically cleanse the Palestinians from that area. Not only did Plan Dalet ethnically cleanse Palestinians from the Jewish state, it also ethnically cleansed Palestinians from the Palestinian state. The goal of Ben-Gurion and the Haganah, which is the precursor to the IDF, was to get as much land as possible with as few as possible Palestinians on it. And that's still the goal of Israel today. The result of Plan Dalet was a horrific war crime that ethnically cleansed 800,000 Palestinians and destroyed 531 villages. And much of this happened before the Arab countries invaded. The descendants of those ethnically cleansed are still waiting for their right of return. And if they were allowed to return, then Israel would be a majority Palestinian. Ben-Gurion and Israeli leadership weren't really worried about being destroyed by the Arab countries, but knew that saying they were would be good for propaganda. This is similar to what was done in 1967 and after October 7th. Israel works its hardest to have a more powerful military than the Arabs and dominate them, while at the same time seeming like an underdog who's about to be destroyed. So now that everyone knows what the Nakba was, let's teach them that the Arabs were ethnically cleansed due to a plan by Israel called Plan Dalet. And just like the Nakba, Plan Dalet never really ended. Every day, Israeli settlers tried to ethnically cleanse Arab villages, and they do this with the help of the IDF, the successor to the army that did the Nakba, and an army that all Israeli citizens are required to serve in.